Listen closely. I am the keeper of tales. Welcome to Arabia Tales, where magic awakens and every story comes alive.
Once upon a time, in a small hut deep in a dense forest, Hansel and Gretel lived with their father. Their mother had passed away, and their father worked day and night as a woodcutter to support the family. As time went by, life became harder and more difficult. Eventually, their father remarried. Hansel and Gretel spent their days happily playing with beautiful wooden toys made by their father. However, their new stepmother had no love for her stepchildren. She constantly thought about how to get rid of them and would watch them from the window with jealousy. One night, while Hansel and Gretel were preparing to sleep, they overheard a conversation between their stepmother and father. "Every loaf of bread is gone before morning. If the children stay here, we will all starve," said the stepmother. "Be quiet. I will never abandon my children," replied their father. "I would rather die." "I don't care," she answered. "Tomorrow we will take them deep into the forest and leave them there." Their father tried hard to change her mind, but she refused. Hearing this, tears filled Gretel's eyes. "Don't cry, Gretel," Hansel whispered. "We will find a way back home." Hansel loved his little sister very much. That night, after everyone had fallen asleep, he quietly went outside and filled a small bag with pebbles he found nearby. As soon as everyone fell asleep, Hansel quietly slipped out of the house and collected as many small white pebbles as he could find. He filled a little bag with them and returned to his room. The next morning, the family set off toward the forest. Their father told the children they were only going for a walk. As they walked deeper and deeper among the trees, Hansel secretly dropped the pebbles along the path so they could find their way home later. The weather was beautiful, but as the leaves continued to fall from the trees, life for Hansel and Gretel seemed to grow more difficult. "Stay here and don't go anywhere," their father said. "We'll be back soon." The children waited, but their father and stepmother left them alone in the forest and never returned. As night fell, the forest filled with frightening sounds. Hansel and Gretel sat close together, trembling with fear. When the moon rose, its light reflected off the pebbles Hansel had dropped. Following the shining trail, the children safely found their way back home. Their father felt both joy and shame when he saw them again. But their stepmother only forced a fake smile. Days passed, and life became even harder. One night, while the children were sleeping, their stepmother locked their bedroom door from the outside so Hansel could not collect more pebbles. The next morning, they were taken into the forest again. This time, Hansel could not gather stones, so he quietly dropped pieces of bread from his pocket along the way, hoping they would guide them home later. Once again, their father and stepmother abandoned them deep in the forest. "Don't worry, Gretel," Hansel said. "I left a trail of breadcrumbs." But when they tried to return, the birds had eaten every crumb. There was no trail left to follow. Lost and frightened, the children wandered through the forest for many hours. Suddenly, they noticed a strange house. The walls were made of biscuits. The roof was covered with sweets and candies. The windows were made of chocolate decorated with colorful cream. "This house is amazing," said Gretel. "And it smells delicious," Hansel replied. Hungry and exhausted, the children rushed toward the house and began eating pieces of it. Then they heard a voice. "Who is nibbling on my sweet little house?" An old woman appeared and smiled warmly. "My dear children, who are you, and why are you here?" Hansel and Gretel told her their story and explained how they had been abandoned in the forest. "Oh, you poor children," she said kindly. "Come inside. I have plenty of food for you." The children followed her into the house. Although the inside was dark, dirty, and unsettling, they were too hungry and tired to pay much attention. The old woman served them a large meal. "Eat as much as you like," she said. After eating, Hansel and Gretel quickly fell asleep. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the windows. "Come on, Gretel," Hansel said. "Let's explore this strange house." As they wandered around, they found a room filled with gold, jewels, and treasure. "Amazing," Hansel whispered. "Where did this old woman get all this wealth?" They quietly closed the door and continued exploring. Then they discovered another room.
What they saw there terrified them.
Suddenly, the old woman appeared before them, but now she looked completely different. She was a wicked witch. Hansel and Gretel trembled with fear. "You have eaten my food, rested in my house, and slept peacefully," she laughed. "Now it is my turn." The witch grabbed Hansel and locked him inside an iron cage. Gretel cried helplessly as she watched. The witch dragged her into the kitchen. "You will cook food for your brother," the witch ordered. "When he becomes fat and healthy, I will eat him." Hansel refused to cooperate. Whenever Gretel brought him food, he secretly hid it instead of eating it. Days passed. The witch became suspicious. "Why are you still so thin?" she demanded. "You should be fat by now." Finally, she lost her patience. "Thin or fat, it doesn't matter anymore. Today I will eat you." She ordered Gretel to check whether the oven was hot enough. "I don't know how," Gretel said cleverly. "Could you show me?" The witch grumbled and leaned forward to look into the oven. At that moment, Gretel gathered all her courage. She pushed the witch with all her strength. The witch fell into the blazing oven. With a terrible scream, she was burned in the fire. Gretel quickly grabbed a hammer and ran to Hansel's cage. She struck the lock again and again until it broke open.
Hansel stepped out, free at last.
"You are very brave, Gretel," he said. "Let's get out of here," she replied. Before leaving, Hansel noticed the treasure room. He grabbed a sack, and together they filled it with as many gold coins and jewels as they could carry. Then they escaped from the burning house. After resting by a stream and drinking water, they continued their journey home. Along the way, they missed their real mother terribly. After many days of wandering through forests, hills, and lonely paths, they finally saw something familiar. "Look, Hansel," Gretel cried. "That's our house." The children ran home. Their father rushed outside and embraced them. "Forgive me, my children," he said with tears in his eyes. "I made a terrible mistake." "We missed you too, father," they replied. Hansel and Gretel told him everything: the candy house, the witch, the cage, and their escape. Their father then told them that the cruel stepmother had left and was gone forever. Finally, the children showed him the sack filled with gold coins and jewels. Their father smiled and said, "You too returning safely is the greatest treasure I could ever have." From that day on, Hansel, Gretel, and their father lived happily together. Their hardships were over, and they never had to worry about hunger again. And so, after every trial and difficulty, hope finally brought them peace.
The tale ends here. Thank you for walking through the shadows of Eurabia Tales. Until we meet again, stay enchanted.